Welcome back, part 20 in this series on building an automated video editing pipeline with Claude and a little bit of coding assistance with me. So what are we doing? Watch folder. Everything's working. If you haven't been following along, this is a process I've built that allows me to drop a screen recording in from OBS Studio, and it processes the whole thing, edits the video, trims silence, color grades it, generates the video, does an analysis on it, generates social media, cuts shorts out of it, whole bit. So it's all working. Where this is leading up to in terms of me wanting to use it day to day is I will record on the Mac. I will get the raw footage of the recording. You can see that this is that folder. So this is the whole series, right? So we're on to part 20, that's recording right here. Part 19, you can see 1.5 gig. I will drag these into OneDrive. Doesn't matter that it's OneDrive, could be Google Drive, Dropbox, wherever. And then my PC, which is much more powerful than the MacBook, will get that video and run it through this process automatically. So at the moment, I've been running this script to test, to feed it the video and have it processed. But in this video, what we're going to build is something that does that automatically. So architecturally, how is that going to work? I did a bit of refactoring on the structure of the code. And so there's really two things now. There's a front end server and there's a back end. And the back end is kind of two things. There's the scripts that I can run in isolation, the pipeline script that I can run in isolation, but then the API that the server uses can run those pipeline scripts as well. So the back end is going to need an additional kind of process such that when it starts up, it can watch the OneDrive folder, and as soon as a video hits it, it will go, oh, a video's been added, I need to process it. So this will make the whole thing completely automatic. And then another thing I might build, actually I'll do that next part, is a notification. So we'll do a bit of Discord, we'll get a Discord server and build a webhook so it pings me on Discord whenever a video is processed. Just for giggles. That's very easy to do. So I've written a PRD for this. File drop zone, goal. Extend the application so that a specific folder can be watched for videos added to it. As soon as videos are added to the folder, they should be picked up and processed. Technical. Folder watching should run under the backend service started by the UI. A new config YAML property to specify the location of the folder. Add a new config YAML property to specify the location of the folder, the drop zone. You can see I've already set that. I've got it in the code base here. I'm calling it drop zone. Actually, while we're here, let's add that to git ignore. I do not want that going up into GitHub. And then the process should only process videos, I'll say, in the folder, no other files. This process should only run one at a time. So if it gets to arrive at the same time, no, don't do that. I'm tempted to say don't process a file that has already been processed. So that's interesting. So what I don't know is how it would handle a modification to the folder. i.e., if the video file, I'll say OneDrive, so just go with OneDrive, but you can think of it as any cloud service. If the file got modified for any reason, would it reprocess it? I don't know. We'll cover that later. It will be easy to check based on the workspace directories, because say it's processing 01 Vibe Video Editor intro, it could just go, oh, I've already got a folder, don't process it. But ultimately, I'm going to want to clear this out. So once these videos are published, I'm going to be like, I'm done, delete the folder, because it's 36 gig of space so far. That's the requirement. This is pretty simple. there's not much to this. It's kind of a file folder watcher, and then boom, run the process script, which we know works. Now, I'm going to do something controversial. I'm going to go to manage plugins, and I'm going to turn everything off. You know why? Because I think these are actually creating more trouble than they're worth. Feature dev. So I've had these run a couple of times now, and I'm just not confident that they are giving a better result than not. So that whole UI episode we did, like parts 16 and 17, where it took 2 hours to bake the UI, like, it did a great job. But I'm like, as I said, I've built UIs much quicker than 2 hours of AI working and burning through my monthly Claude budget. And then, you know, GitHub Copilot, I reckon, could have built that in maybe 10 to 15 minutes. And then maybe I would have spent another 10 minutes or so iterating on a few bugs with it. But yeah, I don't want to be using something that takes 2 hours like that. So front-end design, I'm a bit paranoid about that. I'm leaving some of these in that I'm not worried about, like the vendor-specific ones like Superbase Stripe. Not worried about those. Security guidance, let's leave that on. But certainly feature dev, I think, has been more trouble than it's worth. I don't want to say this is bad. I don't want to say don't use feature dev plugin / skill from Claude. I need to understand it a bit better. But yeah, I'm wary of things that are getting AI to do more work than it needs to do. Okay. So hopefully that helps. And then we're going to put Claude in plan mode. It's got the context. Analyze this requirement. Off she goes. This should be pretty straightforward. While that's having a think, let me get our first file ready to drop. So we're going to go drop zone, and where are my vid test videos? I'll get it to do split screen short video. It's just, now what's it doing? Okay, whatever. I'm going to call this drop test. So this is going to be the first one I drag in. So once this is built, what I'm expecting is I can just drag that into drop zone there, and it will trigger this. That's the outcome we want. And then because I've said add a YAML config for this, and you can see I've said drop zone, I'll change that to my OneDrive folder location when I have this code deployed on the PC, and it should work. I won't test that on this video. But yeah, if it works off this folder, it'll work off OneDrive. I'm almost regretting putting this in plan mode. It's kind of almost to go do it. But the benefit of plan mode is, and even on a simple requirement, is, hey, you haven't thought of something. So, you know, this is going and reading half the code base. But it may find something and go, if I change this, this will stop working. Now, in this case, I don't think that's going to happen. This is pretty simple. But plan mode will definitely get us a better outcome than just going, hey, go do it. Okay, Claude has finished its planning. Let's see what it's going to cook. Currently requires manual job submission. PRD asks for a fire and forget folder drop workflow. Approach: an async IO polling loop. No new library dependencies, runs as a fast API lifespan task. On every tick, it checks the drop zone folder for files. If found and no pipeline is currently running, it moves the file to a staging subfolder. and launches the pipeline process exactly as the existing helper does. Why polling over Watchdog? Simpler, zero new dependencies. Mac OS FS events gives no meaningful latency advantage at 5-second poll interval. Okay, a drop zone block, poll intervals. So that's good. This is the first thing I was thinking, like how frequencies is this going to poll? I'll probably set that like 2 minutes. Obviously, I'll do it quicker for test, but it's not going to need to poll that often. New file, API rather, video extensions. Yep, okay. Drop zone watcher class, start stop is processing next. Process video, generates job ID, moves files into dot processing, launches sub process via subprocess p open. Hit next. Yeah, that's the bit I'm looking for. Launch pipeline. Project root. I've been mucking around with this in my refactors. I'm going to need to clean this up. We'll get Claude to do that later. Loads drop-down config from the YAML, logs via Python. Good. API main, integrate lifespan, replace the module level fast API with an async context manager lifespan that reads config YAML for drop zone, creates and starts the drop zone instance, yields, server on, stops the watcher on, shutdown. I don't understand this. Right, I got some questions. This is interesting. I normally am like, yeah, go run it. I don't fully understand the async context manager lifespan. The async context whispers being a bit slow. Will the API still run? I'll say web server. I'm sure it will, but I just want to understand it. That's question one. Question two. Yeah, so this bit where it's saying move to file. So that I understand why it needs to do that. What we'll get it to do is we'll create folders in here, processing, and finish. Change your plan as follows. Move videos to the, let's copy that, copy relative, directory when running, move each video to the finished directory once the job is complete. Okay, so that will mean as much as I've got the UI where I'm like, oh, things are stuck, resume, etc., I'll be able to look at the folder and go, oh, it's processed that and it's finished. Another thing this is going to tie in with is all the assets that are in the workspace for each video. Some of these I'm going to want to pull out. So I'll probably have like a package directory or something. In fact, let's call it raw. And add that to the drop zone as well. So when it's finished, it copies out like the shorts, all the finished videos into a folder in the drop zone, so I can just grab them. Then I can fully like delete these workspace directories once they're run. Okay. Really, once all this stuff's published on YouTube, it's like we're done. I'm not keeping all these raw files. So once I build YouTube integration and other platforms and see that working, then that's when I can build something that goes, okay, clean up the workspace. Easy to do. So let's keep reading. Drop zone washer, fine. Await yield. Yield is like, okay, I've started something, I'll yield back to the main process, and then that can continue to do stuff, and then once that goes, I'm done, then it would stop this. I think I've described that right. I know that sort of syntax in JavaScript. Assume it's the same in Python. Staging strategy. Files are moved from before the pipeline is launched. This never repicks. Yep, good. Input files are kept separate from workspace. After the pipeline finishes, staged files remain in processing alongside the workspace output. No cleanup needed for MVP. Yep, good. File detection. Only files directory in the drop zone root process. Excellent. I was just thinking that. File must have a recognizable video extension. X start backend. Yeah, okay. So just these two. So I'm going to click no keep planning. And copy that in. So I'm kind of saying tweak the plan, and I've got a question, and then this will be ready to go because it shouldn't have any problem with my ask. Good updates. Thank you, Claude. I'm going to proactively rename these. I mean, thinking about it, it would probably be better to have another folder in this drop zone called raw to do. And so then you can go in each folder because there's going to be a load in the root. Once it said only files directly in the drop zone root are processed. Start the back end. And then it answered my question. Okay, stuff it. Let's do it. Raw to do. No keep planning. Actually, one last change. Let's make this pick up from. So then it's kind of clean in terms of I'll drop in raw to do. It will move in raw processing, and then it will move in raw finished. If you imagine this is going to work in OneDrive, because it's just moving files, that's not going to mean there's a re-upload of a 2 gigabyte video file. It'll just go move, and that's just a file change. Okay, let me read this, make sure it's right. Add drop zone, folder drop zone. Key responsibilities. Creates raw to do, raw processing. Video process generates job ID. Moves file. Why are they renamed? Video file detection. Only files in raw to do are what? Yep. It's got the main gist of it, right? No keep planning. 1. Don't rename the files when moved. 2. Generate job ID should use the existing logic. Let me search for this. Launch pipeline. Name. So there's logic we did where it was generating a UID for the file name. And I said, no, don't do that. Use the name of the file. Can't find it. Yeah, this is it. Generate job ID should use the existing logic in to generate a job ID based on the video file name. So I think what it's doing is it's going, oh, okay, I'm going to generate this job ID and then I'll rename the video with the job ID. I don't want it to do that. It doesn't need to. So it's now going to read this. It will keep this. So these PIDs, like once I'm done with them, I just drag them in done. It's not going to be something used again. Probably best practice is I should actually delete them out of the repo. Otherwise, Claude could read them and could get confused. Yep, it's got that. Okay, it gets what I'm after. What's happening here? That I'm not going to commit. I'm going to remove it once we've tested this, so not to worry now. Probably like time, 25 minutes. I think this is ready to go. I'll kick it off and then I'll resume the video once this is complete and we'll see if it works. Okay, Claude was done. That was quick, very quick. maybe me turning those skills off helped, but maybe I've introduced a whole bunch of problems. But this is what I'm used to. Use plan mode, have a few iterations on plan mode, prod it in the right direction, then execute. I suppose the problem for you, if you're not a software engineer, is like I understand what it's going to do. So some of the decisions it's making, I've got a good level of familiarity with some of the code, certainly the architecture, such that if it's saying it's going to do things that I can see problems with, I can go, no, don't do that, don't do that. So if you are vibe coding with no experience, it's going to be challenging. You're just going to have to go, make this work. It's slow. I don't know how folks are doing it. I also don't fully understand how some of these platforms that will go, hey, I'm going to build you an app, do all this without resolving those concerns over plugging in skills like security expert, architecture expert, back-end expert. And I mean, they'll do a lot of heavy lifting. But yeah, these kind of nuanced little issues. It's not obvious to me that AI can self-resolve these without the kind of direction I'm giving it. But again, let me know in the comments. I'm very, very keen to learn if there's ways I could be doing things quicker. So we need to start this up. So the first test is, does the front end still start? Because it's messed around with that. Started server on 22319 and front end is still on 1800. Yep, that's up. That's reading workspace. Cool. So let's drop it in. Oh, okay, it's not going to work immediately because I need to do it in the raw folder. So nothing should have happened. Now we drop it in raw to do. Nothing logging out. Nothing happening. Logs. Drop test logs. It's working. I was expecting this to... Yeah, there it is. Boom. Okay. Awesome. Whoa. It's already churned through 5-6 steps. There you go. That's working. Like, there's nothing else to do. That's all I wanted this to do. So I can push this code up, pull it down on the PC, set this up with my OneDrive folder there, and then this will be fire and forget. I've created a bit of a constraint for myself in that this process will now rely on these raw recordings going up and down from OneDrive, which is a bit overkill. In fact, what I did last night was I just copied all these on a USB and went, yeah, way quicker to transfer via an SD card than wait for all this to upload to OneDrive. If I'm clocking out kind of videos this kind of length, 300 meg, how long is that? It's 5 minutes. Yeah, that's a bit too short. Like that's going to be double, so that's going to be about a 10-minute video. Okay, 20-minute video. Yeah, so 800 meg, that should go okay. And again, remember, it's not like I need the video processed and uploaded within 5 minutes of me recording it, because the next thing we'll get to is scheduling. So how is all this going to get to social media, which will be another part of all this. We'll let this fully run, and I'll tell you what I'm thinking with social media. So first I need to build out the APIs for publish to YouTube, publish to TikTok. Pretty confident I can get past that. I've done YouTube publishing code before. It's not too hard. I've never done TikTok. The real challenge is scheduling. So you've got a lot of platforms, and it's a really powerful feature to offer to give social media managers a platform where they can go, put that up on a Tuesday, put that up on a Wednesday, put that up on a Thursday. Awesome. And especially if it can do multiple at one time. I've been using CapCut. I've got CapCut Pro, and that has a scheduler in it. It's donkey work. It's not work I like doing. Interestingly enough, I have made CapCut obsolete with a lot of what I've done here. I no longer need a CapCut subscription because all I was using it for was the captions. I now have that. Once I've got scheduling done, goodbye CapCut subscription. So this is part of what this is killing for me in terms of runtime costs. Now, we'll take a quick look at YouTube Data API. And then I'll talk more about this when I start to work on this. What I want to be able to do, I'm not sure is going to be possible. And even if it is possible on YouTube, I'm not sure it's going to be possible on other platforms like TikTok and LinkedIn. The way I'm thinking about it is I should be able to make a call to YouTube and go, get me the videos on my channel. And what I'm hoping is that that would include videos I've scheduled. So there's that premiere feature in YouTube where it will let you upload a video and set a date for it to go live. That's not quite the same as upload it and don't show anyone it. But I'm thinking if I can make a call to YouTube and it can return videos I have uploaded and videos that are scheduled to go live, then I could go, oh, okay, so there's 3 queued, add a day, and then schedule the next one. Then the scheduling is automatic because it would just be reading the dates of the videos in YouTube and going, right, add a day, put the next one in. For shorts, I'm happy to slam 3 out a day, but same kind of process. I don't like the idea of there just being a queue of premiere videos on YouTube that people are going to be like, why has this guy uploaded 20 videos and I can't watch any of them for 20 days? So that's not going to work. But then what it could do is go, okay, I need to unfurl this queue of videos locally. And so another process that's running in this server could just go, okay, what's ready to go? What's ready to go? And then it would take care by itself of going, oh, he hasn't uploaded a video for a day, push another one up. And that's probably where we'll land. That would also work on the other platforms as well, because then really it's just about spacing the distance between content. So I don't want to upload 20 videos at the same time, but if I think I'm going to get 5 videos out a week, 2 videos out a week, I'm currently at 20 in the last 3 days, I want a certain amount of space between those. And another thing here is I'm very, very mindful. I'm trying to aim at quality over quantity. So these kind of live stream recordings I've been doing for this project, I'm going to need to take a different approach for future projects and try and get these a bit more digestible. Because if you're here and you're watching, part 20 of this and have been following along, that's a huge time investment. So thank you. But yeah, I want to do smaller projects that are going to be a bit easier to digest. This is a big one though. And I'm not finished yet. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. But for this video, drop zone done, drop zone working. Let's quickly look at the thumbnail, because I always like looking at the thumbnail. Okay, thumbnail's still broken. It is not uploading me anymore. I thought I fixed that offline. Let's look at the logs, because we've got the logs. Look at that. Loaded 0 reference images from guide images. So there's a bug there because of me moving the folders around. So I'll go fix that. And then my thumbnail here should return to semblance of me. Doesn't matter for this video because I'm never going to use it. Actually, one last thing to check. Did it move it correctly? So we didn't check whether it was in raw processing, but it's now in raw finish. So job done. I'm not going to worry about testing multiple. I'll do that on the PC, but this is looking really good. Okay. What should we work on next? File Watcher is done. I'll have a think about that, and we'll pick up in the next part.